Hey everyone, it's Karen at Worldschooling Central and welcome back to Worldschooling Central Spotlight, where I introduce you to experienced world schoolers and have them share their stories with you. Today I want to introduce you to Jimmy and Sandy Falin, who first discovered the worldschooling way of life in 2017. Ever since, they've had incredible adventures and are excited to share their story with you. So watch this to find out more. Meet the Falin family, a family of 5 from the USA who woke up one day and realised they were miserable. Like so many, they were living the American dream and had everything that society says you need in order to be happy. But they weren't. The morning routine, the homework, no quality time, it was all taking a huge toll. When they discovered worldschooling, their lives changed almost overnight. After attending a community summit, they were hooked. They returned home to the US and sold everything on a mission to be free, to escape the daily grind and to truly start living. Their journey has taken them around the world, and as a family they have had experiences that their kids will remember for a lifetime. Facing challenges together as a team, watching their kids become citizens of the world and learning through incredible experiences has been life-changing for this energetic and adventurous family. It's not always smooth sailing, but the Falin family share it all on their highly successful YouTube channel, Trying Something New. They love to share their story, so let's meet Mum and Dad, Sandy and Jimmy now.
I'm Sandy Falin.
Hey, I'm Jimmy.
And we are a family of 5 that's been traveling for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
with
probably 3 years,
kids.
full time.
So Jimmy and Sandy, when did you start worldschooling?
3 years ago, we sold everything we had, moved into an RV, and traveled the U.S. for a little bit, and then fell in love with Southeast Asia and international travels. And we've been doing a little bit of both ever since, and it's been wonderful, amazing. We love it.
And why did you start worldschooling?
Well, we were miserable.
We hated the preconditioned life that we were supposed to live, that society says you should be happy if you have all this stuff.
We had 2 of our kids in school, in public school here in Las Vegas. And, you know, I think we just got to a point where we go, is everybody this miserable? Is the daily grind this horrible for everybody? Because this is not fun. We didn't sign up to have kids to be going through the stress of every morning. Our kids are freaking out. They don't want to get dressed. You know,
we're running late.
The whole craziness.
Get in the car, you do your breakfast, pack your lunch. Oh my God, do your homework. It's like,
then you get the kids from school, and then it starts all over again now with getting the homework done, making dinner, trying to actually spend some time with the kids. And yeah, we did that for a couple of years. And it was just, you know, you just think that's what you're supposed to do because that's what everybody else does in your neighborhood. And that's what we did when we were kids. Until we were introduced to worldschooling. And I think that just seriously opened our eyes and our minds to like, whoa, there's an alternative here? How come nobody talks about this, you know?
And tell me about that moment you discovered worldschooling.
I asked to join the Facebook page. I got approved. I started looking and I went, Jimmy! I was in the other room. And I go, you gotta see what these people are doing!
We went to a conference and we saw other people doing it, and it kind of took the mystique away from it and showed us, you know, that this is possible, and these people, they're having a great time. And so we fell in love with it. We came home, set a date, and then a couple months later, we sold everything we owned and moved into the RV full time.
So for new families, how would you describe worldschooling?
Learning from all of our travel experiences, and the kids learning firsthand. Because you know, when you're in school, you're learning from textbooks. And Skylar says it all the time. She's 9. She goes, I love learning from the world and not through a book. Because she's very hands-on. She loves to see, touch, and feel and experience the vibe of wherever we are. And that's just something that you cannot get sitting in a classroom and looking in a book or slideshow or whatever pictures the teacher is doing. So for us, it's literally seeing it, experiencing it, and whatever the culture is, whatever the country is about. It's like there's nothing that can replace actually physically being there.
And once you made the decision to start, what did you do to prepare to world school?
From when we heard about it till we went to the summit, and then we pretty much sold everything, a month later? Yeah. A month later.
We had already had the RV, and we had always been toying with moving into it.
The idea, yeah.
And then once we saw, you know, the light on the other side, we're like, oh, it's on now. Like
we met families that were living in a van and traveling that way. People that were in the RV, people that were living Airbnbs all over the world. And I was just like, we are out of here.
And how did friends and family react when you started world schooling?
You know, for me, everyone always knew I was a little different. And I do off the wall things and never went by the book. So no one was really surprised when I said what we were planning on doing.
I think a reaction also was, wow.
Yeah, like you guys are gonna.
I wish I could
it.
do that. You know what I mean? That was a lot of people's reaction. I don't think we ever got any real negative reactions from it. I think everybody's just like, wow, I wish I could do that. I wish I had the, you know, the gusto to pull the trigger and do it. But
the only thing that we do have is his mom likes to, she's not 100% on that the kids aren't in school and the traditional way of learning. So if she has the kids, she'll like do little trivia questions with them to see where they're at, so they know stuff. And the funny part is every time she does that, they kill it.
Blow her
and
away.
So I'm like,
and then some.
And then some. But then on the flip side, they've seen so much more of the world than she ever has at 65 years old. So I'm like, well, you know, they're not doing bad. They're doing pretty good.
So what questions and fears did you have about world schooling before you started?
Some of my questions were, are we going to be able to educate our kids? Are we going to be, you know, you don't want to do anything wrong with your kids. You want to make sure you give them the best chances and possibilities for their future and all of that. So I think that was one of my biggest fears was, are we going to be good teachers for them? Are we going to be able to provide what we think they need to know?
And we still struggle with it a little bit, but not as much as we used to in the very beginning. But, you know, it's this whole deprogramming of what we think they need to know in certain points and all this crazy conditioning that we have. And we're still struggling with it because we come from the system, you know. So we're like, oh, our little guy's not reading yet. We better get on him. You better read, or you know what I mean. But then we're like, all right, just take a deep breath and relax. When we were getting ready to do this, I'm geeking out online, following all these families that are doing it, and we were following Bumfuzzle. And so they were coming through Las Vegas when we were still in a house. And I just sent him an email. I said, hey, I'd love to meet up with you if you're stopping anywhere. He goes, we'll do an overnight at the dry lake bed. And so we got to go out there and meet up with him. I made a video about it. Really
At
cool.
the time, I was having those fears of this was the, oh God, how do we do that? How do we wrap our heads around that? How do we educate the kids?
And I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go.
He was ready to go yesterday. And I was like, but what if, you know, and then I met these guys, the Bumfuzzle crew.
And so 2 things that stood out to me with these guys. I told them, I go, hey man, I just really want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to meet up with us and share your knowledge with us. And he goes, what schedule? You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, what? What do you mean by, you know, so I didn't get it at the time, but I got it later on.
And his whole thing was don't live with regrets. Don't be in your deathbed and go, man, I wish I would have, and have all these regrets. But
the big takeaway, what I was getting at with that one is, I asked Patrick at the end, and I kind of like that, like, well, what would you recommend? And he goes, dude, you can always get your old life back.
Yeah.
If you go out and you try it for a year and it's not for you.
You don't like it.
You can always come home and the same job will be there.
Your old life will be there waiting for you.
Same house will be there, and everything will be there for you, but you at least got to go try.
And that put it into perspective for me. I was like, oh, I don't want this old life. I don't like this life. So what the hell am I hesitating for? What am I fearful of, you know? And once I swear meeting him really changed everything for me, because I was that person sitting there going, oh, I don't know, that sounds great, but I don't know, could I do that? And then I realized like life is too short to have these hang-ups or these fears where, you know, if we never took the jump and never did this, never changed our lifestyle, we would still be sitting in that same old house, in that same old life, still be miserable, probably more miserable now because it's 3 years later. And now on the flip side, we did what we did. We sold it all. We've had so many experiences around the world, met so many amazing people that would never have happened if we didn't take the chance.
Okay, so how do your kids learn?
There's a combination of what we're doing right now. We have a lot of online programs that we're doing, Adventure Academy, Khan Academy, and we were doing the workbooks because I was feeling like it's a good gauge to see where they're at. But then I'm like, if we're going to embrace this whole lifestyle, we don't need to do the workbooks, you know? And so we let them, whatever they're interested in. Sky loves reading weird but true books and all of that kind of stuff. So, and Ryder loves engineering. So we have them in engineering classes. So it's just a lot of alternative learning styles for whatever they're interested in.
And I'm editing. I'm an editor, so I'm editing all day on the computer. And they're seeing that. So they're like, what are you doing, Dad? What are you doing? These kids in the past 2 weeks have sat down and figured out how to edit their own videos. They're doing voiceovers, putting sound effects in there.
Making their own videos.
Downloading stuff from online. I'm like, that's pretty good. Like, and I kind of, I guide them, but I don't tell them to do anything because I want to see what they come up with. And I'm very impressed with what they've done at 9 and 11 years old. It's pretty crazy.
Tell me about deschooling. Did you guys do it, and what were the benefits?
Deschooling is something that we're still working on. All right. For us, I mean, like I said before, we're just in this conditioned mindset that by a certain point, everybody should be at a certain point. And, oh man, we still struggle with it a little bit. We still struggle with it. But on the other side, I mean, you look at what these kids, their experiences and their lives and the beautiful stuff that they come up with, and you're like, wow.
We never do anything by the book, right? And so, there's the whole unschooling, worldschooling, and when you take them out of school, you should do a certain amount of time of deschooling and just don't do anything, just like enjoy each other. And
we kind of do that every day.
Yeah, we do that, but I don't know. If our journey is a little different because, like I said, we don't follow maybe the recommended way of doing things. Sometimes we should. But we still battle that. Honestly, we have to be honest, we still battle that. Are the kids gonna be okay, But
then on the flip side, every time we go to a conference, we've been to quite a few, at the end they always have a teen panel come up and that has never been to school a day in their life, and they are the most beautiful, awesome, well-rounded, intelligent, thoughtful, loving kids that you've ever seen in your life. And every parent is just in the audience going, oh my God, it's amazing, So that's always our reinforcement that, it's all good.
Well, I think as parents, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And that pressure gets very heavy at times, and you just hope you're doing the right thing. And ultimately, we know we are. I think this is the best path for our kids. However,
it's not the easiest
you
path.
still question yourself. And so, we're still, I think we literally just had this conversation the other day where we need to really just try and deschool and get this out of our head that we have to do subjects and we have to do this and keep track. It's hard. It's a challenge for us. Yeah. It's a challenge.
What are some of the other challenges you've faced?
Coming back to Las Vegas for our business. It's our biggest challenge. So our business is based out of Las Vegas, our film business. And so while we're traveling, we can have people shooting for us while we're here, while we're gone. But ultimately, at some point, we need to come back. And when we come back, we're sort of slapped in the face with reality of our country. And yeah, like you said, when there's so much red tape here in the U.S. that, just everything feels like you're doing something wrong. And when you're over, in other countries, it's just so free and open. And so I think that's our biggest challenge is coming back to the U.S.
We're vegetarian, and I think our biggest challenge is probably food.
It's food.
And the kids are very, very, very picky. 2 of them are. They just eat French fries and pizza, and we're just like, So you get into foreign locations where, everybody has everything. Eventually, you could find pizza and French fries. You kind of got to adapt a little bit. And we tried to wait Ryder out. We're like, you're going to, eventually you'll eat their food. And about 4 days in, after he hadn't eaten, we finally had to find some French fries for him.
And when you are on the road, how do you create community?
We've spent 30 days with people, multiple families, and become lifelong friends with them, more so than a neighbor that I might have lived next to for 10 years. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Or we spent 2 weeks with, you guys in Bali, and then we become lifelong friends, and we all resonate at the same energy field. And it's just wonderful to have people like that in your life that you can.
I think that's something that happens when you travel and you meet other families that are that like-minded mindset of this is what life is really about. You don't find that everywhere. It's like you can have the people in your neighborhood and, they're just doing their daily grind. But when you're out in the world and you're connecting with other families, you have that same sort of outlook on life. And
I almost feel like it's a tribe, like a tribe mentality.
Totally, yeah.
Because you have time to stop and talk to each other and get to know each other and have a drink together and hang out together and watch each other's kids together. You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's wonderful, and I feel like it's something that the world is missing nowadays, and that's why there's probably a lot of craziness going on.
And what about having to spend 24/7 together? How do you do that?
Some of the challenges with having your kids with you 24/7 is the balance of getting work done and, you know, paying attention to the kids and getting their sort of learning going every day. So that balance we have not mastered by any means, and I don't know who has, and if somebody has, please give us a clue.
Because we always think everybody else has it figured out. We're like, they've got it figured out. And then you start talking to them, and they're like, we don't got it.
We're like, all right, good. We're not unique. Nobody has it figured out.
And how has world schooling changed your relationships with each other, Sandy?
It's almost funny. Like, our kids are so used to being with us.
Oh my God, this is hysterical.
That no matter where we go, we can go somewhere for the kids to play and do something, and they will play for a couple minutes, and then they come right back to us. So it's like they've gotten so connected to us that they don't ever want to be away from us.
And we're like, go play. We came here for you guys. And they're like, no, I just want to sit here with you. I'm like,
and so they just really enjoy being with us. And I think that is super, super cool, you know? And I think the traveling and doing all this and doing everything together all day long, every day, has really just made us so strong. And we didn't even realize
it was
how much so.
It was a side effect.
Yeah,
sure.
Totally. Until we go out and do things for them, right? We bring them somewhere that's super fun for kids, and they go out and they're just like, oh, you just want to hang out with us and talk to us. And I'm going, what are you doing? Like, if I was a kid, I would be out there all day, you know? But no, so I think doing this whole world schooling lifestyle has just made them so much more connected to us.
Which is what you want ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want these kids to turn 18 and be like, peace, I'll never see you again, Dad. Thanks for the 18 years. I want that connection with them. I want to be friends with them when they get older and be able to have more and more and more experiences with them. And it's funny because we were in the RV. Well, we were traveling Southeast Asia, and we just get 2-room suites, and everybody sleep in one bed, and we'd sleep in another bed. And then we came back to the RV, and we only have one bed in the RV, so everybody's just piled in there, you know. And it was such a snuggly, warm feeling. And then we decided to rent a house for a couple months and move in here, and it's 4 bedrooms, and everybody's got their own room. And every single night, I mean, this place is massive, 2,000 square feet. Every single night, they're coming back to our bed, you know. And it's like, at first we're like, no, go in your bed. But now we're like, oh man, look at this. Like, it's just what they've been conditioned to for the past 3 or 4 years. So it's just what they know. It's comfortable for them. And for us, I'm like, oh man, it feels so good.
I know.
Let's just move back into the RV and get our king bed back.
We thought, it'd be cool while we're here. We're going to stay for about 6 months or so. So each of you get your own room. You get to have your own space. And literally, it's just for stuff.
Nobody cares.
And then they want to be like all in the same room. So I think that's one thing that is major that has happened is the connection with all of us has just gotten so strong where if they were in school, it would not be like that at all, because the amount of time you actually physically spend together is so small. A few hours during the week and then the weekends where you need to catch up on stuff, So yeah, it's quality time that we're spending together every single day and they love it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what a normal world schooling day looks like in your family.
It depends on where we are in the world.
Yeah.
Let's see, when we're in Southeast Asia, staying in Bali or Lombok or one of these little villas, we would, this time we did slow travel, which I think we're more adventurous, and everybody's like, you got to do slow travel because you can kind of hunker down and get in and spend a month in a location. And to us, that was just way too long. Like, I want to go. There's so much to see and explore and do that I don't want to, be stuck somewhere for so long.
So what would our day look like?
So we would, get up. We'd find a local gym because we love to work out. And we'd go down and work out in the morning before the kids get up. And then we'd come back and, just get breakfast ready, maybe head down to the market and get some food because there was just little Afro marts and you got to go every single day to the local market
Stock up.
to get apples and pancake mix. And then we found a bunch of local stuff when we were in Bali, a bunch of local stuff for the kids. There's all kinds of little parks and meetups and, whatever for the kids. So we would plan that and try and find community and that kind of stuff.
And depending on where we were, if we would go to a temple and sort of learn about the culture of whatever area we're in.
Yeah.
It kind of just changes all the time depending on where we are, what we're doing. what we're focusing on.
It's funny because we found that if we were in a place for a longer time, we actually did less. Because we're like, oh, the temple's there. We'll go next week. We'll go next week. We'll go next week. And then we're like, crap, we got to pack our bags. We're leaving in a day. And we never got to the temple. But if we were only there for like 4 days, I guarantee you we would have gone around and seen everything that there was to see. So I don't know. You got to find your balance. The balance of fast travel versus slow travel. While we're here in the States, it's just grinding on work right now. You know, we get up, we stay up late working, we get up early working.
Yeah, and we'll have the kids, whatever they're into, they can sort of do research online, YouTube. Nixon was learning about Paris, so she was doing a whole presentation by her choice on Paris. And
Sky's teaching herself Spanish, and they get on
Korean.
They start editing on the computers, and and we go to the park halfway through the day. So
it's really just self-directed right now. They're just doing whatever we encourage them, whatever you're interested in. Let's get in it, you know. Yeah. So as of right now, that's the game plan.
It changes. We change direction every 4 days. So
what would you say are some of the benefits of world schooling?
Our kids are navigating through the world at such young ages and able to communicate with all these people.
It's insane.
Starting to learn their languages and acting like little adults instead of children. So our 6-year-old, we just came back from 4 months in Bali, and he was like...
We call him the mayor.
He was like the little king, you know? He is making friends with everyone. A lot of them maybe don't even speak English, but there's a connection there, you know, and he's able to just navigate his way through. The girls who are 9 and Nixon just turned 11, they're learning the language. They're doing things that they would never be able to do sitting in a classroom. And so, you know, you think you're ingrained that this is the way to learn, but it's like, it blows it out of the water when you see them, you know, going through the world in with such ease. And I don't know.
And here we are like, they're not learning trigonometry, but you know what I mean? I've never used trigonometry in my life. I remember I spent a whole semester in this crazy math class in college where we just solved one problem. It was like 14 pages of ones and zeros. And I spent 3 months solving this problem. And then I've never used it since. So what the heck was the point of all this stuff? But then to see these kids get out there and, like you said, navigate the world, it's amazing.
And learning life skills, I think, is what's the most important thing. And actually what's most important to us is those kind of things, being able to, I don't know, just having those life skills and confidence that they can enter in a situation and they're not like shy hiding behind our leg, you know, where I think sometimes, like I know our middle daughter, Skylar, she's not a classroom kid. You know, she had to repeat kindergarten because she wasn't meeting the, you know, the little sight words in a timely manner and to their liking. But this kid absolutely loves marine life, anything weird, anything gross. Like she knows everything about all animals, but that she would never explore that if she was sitting in the classroom doing what the teacher had set forth for them, you know? And
she would have had a label on her that there was something wrong with her.
So she had a learning disability or something.
Because she didn't fit into their box. She's out in the stratosphere floating around with the stars, but they want to try to break that and put her in the box.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful that she gets to keep that, and it's not going to get taken away from her. That's what really hits us hard.
Another thing that I love about this whole lifestyle is the kids can be themselves. They don't have to conform to the whole structure of the school system. And it's not fit for everyone's learning style. And I was the same exact way as Skylar when I was a kid, and I was labeled as having a learning disability and getting all these tests done. And it messes with you when you grow up like that, you know? And so I saw with Skylar early on, I'm like, oh, this is not gonna be fun. So the one thing that is super important with this way of living, like world schooling and all of that, is they get to explore who they are to the nth degree, you know? And whatever they're interested in, they can go crazy with it and not have to be labeled and feel like, I'm not good enough. I'm not learning this the way I'm supposed to be learning it, you know? So that's huge.
Yeah, one other thing with the kids too is like all the kids that we meet world schooling and traveling the world, they're such beautiful, kind, loving souls, right? Mm-hmm. And then our kids come back to the States and interact with kids that are in school like a lot, and it's like, ooh, like there's a lot of stuff that they're picking up that I don't necessarily want them to be exposed to at such a young age. And I feel like there's an innocence that's gets to be preserved a little bit when you're, you know, doing this kind of schooling and lifestyle with your kids.
Now the big one, what does it cost to world school?
It's funny because everybody always says like, oh, isn't it so expensive to travel? Well, this lady's the king of like finding $300 tickets anywhere in the world. And then once you get over there, it's pretty much half price on what you would spend in the U.S. So if you're spending $4,000 a month to live in the U.S., I mean, you could spend $2,000 a month over there and get by, you know. So it's actually cheaper to live in exotic tropical locations than it is in your regular hometown.
It's like cheating life in a way. You feel like you're cheating. It's too good to be true. It's more expensive to go to California for a week probably than to live a month somewhere, like say in Southeast Asia.
If you go to Disneyland or Disney World, we're actually going to do a video on Bali versus Disneyland. And 2 days in Disneyland will cost you as much as 2 weeks in Bali, including
more,
So it's crazy.
And how do you guys fund your travels?
So we have a video production company based in Vegas that can kind of, I wouldn't say self-sustain itself, but I mean, maybe we get 2, 3, 4 jobs a month.
The great thing about it is we don't have to be in Las Vegas. We can have other people filming while we're somewhere else, and then they just shoot the footage over to Jimmy. He can edit it wherever he is, as long as there's a Wi-Fi connection, and we're good.
Tell us all where we can find you guys online.
We started a YouTube channel about a year ago, documenting all of our travels. Now, film is our business, so it was just natural that we start doing this, the travel adventures. And what we've learned over the past year is how we have inspired people. And that's really the passion now, is showing other families that you can do this. Because a lot of people, all the comments that we get is like, I can't believe you're doing this with kids, like little kids.
Everybody asks us, do you bring the kids with you? I'm like, do you think we leave them
for
at home by themselves for 4 months at a time? Like, I don't know. It's kind of funny. So we have a YouTube channel called Trying Something New. Sandy, move your head over to the side here. Something new right there. So it's TRYN Something New. That's our YouTube channel. We have Instagram and Facebook, also the same things. Right now we're grinding. We're trying to get 2 videos up a week. We get at least 1 video up a week. I've got terabytes and terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of adventures and footage and epic stuff that we've done that I just got to get to editing. And that's the fun of doing video, because each one takes about 10 hours and it takes a minute to get it out. But
so we try to show people the world through our travels, whether it be Southeast Asia, wherever we've been, and just inspire people to get out there and do the same.
And looking back, are you glad you started Worldschooling?
I love it. I love traveling. I love being out there. I love realizing we don't need these possessions that we held on to for years, that when we sold it all, it was freeing. And so I love traveling with our suitcases and on to the next. And we start life there, and then on to the next, and we start life there. So I never want to go back to that sedentary life in one place. Like, you buy the house for 30 years, you're in there, you get the roots. No, I think those experiences that you gain from traveling all over the world are way more valuable, way more important. The connections that you create from going through these experiences together with your family, I think are just priceless.
And finally, what would you say to someone who is considering Worldschooling?
If you're sitting in your neighborhood and you're realizing, God, this just sucks, this is not what I pictured, you can try something new, and you can get out there and just do something different. There's different ways to live life, and just take control of it. You don't have to just do what everybody else is doing just because.
Yeah, trust your gut.
Whoever's watching this, if you're on the fence and you have fears and you're not sure what to do, just know that if you took the chance and did something different, your old life will be waiting for you. So if you find it's not for you, you don't like it, you hate it, hey, your old life is still there. So
but you got to try something new to find out.
But you got to try something new, and you might love it.
To find out more about Sandy, Jimmy, and their amazing adventures, be sure to check out Trying Something New. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and to find out more about Worldschooling, visit worldschoolingcentral.com.